Welcome to Coffee with Joe for Monday, March 21st, 2011. Joe, I don't even want to think how long it's been since we did a Coffee with Joe. There are various reasons for it that won't be of much interest to our viewers. Let's just get down to the conversation about monetary policy, monetary reform, the robust recovery that we are all now enjoying in this country and around the world. I
Yeah,
don't think we're touching the potential black swan in Japan today. Joe, you wanted to talk about Bernanke's policies once again, and this idea of high-powered money. This is
yeah,
the foundation of our debt money system, is the government's involvement in creating U.S. Treasury debt that is used by the banks, supposedly under the money multiplier model, which people like Steve Keen have eloquently refuted, stating that it's not that banks lend based on whether they have excess reserves or not. They go ahead and lend, and then they go find the reserves. And these reserves would tend to be in the form of cash or U.S. Treasury securities, the soundest investment on the planet, we're told.
yeah, right.
And right now, that doesn't seem to be working because there are, I believe, trillions of dollars in excess reserves out there,
Yeah,
and banks are still not lending. So, reserves is not the limiting factor right now.
right,
The limiting factor seems to be the banks feeling that they're not going to get paid back if they lend out any money right now.
right, right.
And to a certain extent, the consumer and businesses don't feel confident about the future, so they're not looking to take out loans for the most part.
Let's pity Bernanke, okay? Because why? Because
He's got a
he only,
thankless job.
yeah, well, mainly because he doesn't have any tools in his toolbox, Pete. Okay, you know, he comes to the Congress and he always talks about, well, these are the tools we have in our toolbox. Our interest rate tool has been played to the hyped limit, and we can't really reduce interest rates anymore. We're paying interest on excess reserves. We've completely undone and redone and, you know, just exhausted our interest rate, you know, manipulation options. You know, and so then you get into the matter of so-called quantitative easing, Pete, okay? Which really, all that really means is that he can, Bernanke, go out and using his, you know, unlimited power to purchase, the bonds of banks or, you know, whomever, let's say, okay, the result of which is to pour hundreds of billions of dollars at a time, at a fell swoop, into the excess reserves, you know, further excess reserves of those banks, and then hope for kind of a trickle down into having an effect on the goals and objectives of our monetary policy. Remember, monetary policy doesn't stand alone, Pete, okay? It has as its objectives, you know, to maintain price stability. That mainly means to prevent prices from going up unnecessarily. But it also has the goal of full employment. So the effect so far has been zero, okay, on employment. Yeah, there's been changes in the employment statistics, but that's because of statistical gyrations, you know, on the part of the people that are keeping them. So we have this question. This is the question that I have then, Pete, okay? Is the reserve component of fractional reserve banking really fulfilling its concept, the concept that it brings with it of high-powered money, okay? The answer should be obvious. It's not. In fact, it's no-powered money, Pete.
It's kind of impotent money, isn't it?
Impotent money is just exactly right, because basically the businessman and the real, entrepreneur, investor, and even the consumer are reluctant to spend and invest because they themselves don't have any confidence in the economy. And the lack of any availability of any money at what I call, the place in the money system where we all live and work, and that is the M1, Pete. You know, the M2 when we get fortunate.
The cash part of the money supply and our checking account part of the money supply.
Our checking accounts and our savings accounts too.
Savings accounts.
So you know, so you say, well, what effect is our total monetary policy having on M1 and M2? And the answer is none. Okay, it's none. It's having such a minimal trickle down impact at that level, and that's strictly confidence driven, Pete. Okay, what it really means is we have no tools in our monetary policy that can be used in order to turn around our problem of the deflationary effects of our money system, Pete. So we have the fractional reserve banking system. It works when it's expanding. It works in the sense that you can somewhat use interest rates in order to manage somewhat the level of supply and demand in the economy, so therefore the growth of the economy, and at the same time keep people, you know, more people employed, and interest rates and prices, you know, in check. Interest rates to keep prices in check. But on the down way, Pete, you know, on the downside, on the contraction side, on the deflation side, when we've hit a bubble, we have zero. You know, all we're doing, just picture the runaway car, go run down the hill. We're trying to keep it, from getting outside of any particular, parameter of economics, Pete. Okay, but we have no control whatsoever, none, zero. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Because how many ineffective trillions of policy actions do we need to take before we realize that the system itself is broken, Pete? So what is that system? That system is the debt money system, Pete. That's the key that, Bernanke, Democrats, all of the people that are out there that might be trying to do something about steering us back, inboard again, haven't come to grips with. Has anybody come to grips with it? Well, kind of seems to me like Mervyn King is really coming to grips with it, Pete. Okay?
The chairman of the Bank of England.
Chairman of the Bank of England, because he's for doing away with fractional reserve banking, doing in favor for full reserve banking. And once you address and engage the issue of full reserve banking, you immediately broach the subject of, well, then where does the money come from? And I'm not saying that he's a full-blown monetary reformer, but what I'm saying is that he's honestly and candidly addressing the fact that nothing is in this system is working, and we need to get outside the system in order to fix it.
Which brings us back to the NEED Act, which Dennis Kucinich entered into Congress last fall and needs to be re-entered. We hear it's being tinkered with right now, and will be re-entered sometime during this congressional session.
Right.
Hopefully in time to do some good.
Yeah, that's right, Pete.
Joe, I think we need to wind it up there.
Okay, Pete.
And we'll take another stab. Maybe people have some questions for us. Please engage in the conversation. And thanks for your time today, Joe.
Okay. Take care, Pete.
Bye.
Ciao.